Welcome into another episode of Three's a Crowd. I'm Preston Vargas. Eli had to step out for a second. Fortunately, won't be making it today. Before we get started, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into this one. Indiana, what a win they had last night, beating Miami by a score of 27 to 21 in the national championship. Fernando Mendoza popped off in a big run to seal the win, basically for Indiana. And then it was just a competitive game. Carson Beck had a chance at the end through a pick to that's what sealed the game. And yeah, Indiana, credit to Kirk Cignetti for turning that program around in 2 years. Honestly, didn't think they would get to this point. I mean, you we never thought Indiana was that good at college football. And now that they won a national title, it means a lot more to that school. We always thought of them as a basketball school, and to win a national championship in football, and they were, I've heard from ESPN members like Shea Cornett, Courtney Cronin, that they probably didn't attend a single Indiana football game once, except to see Ohio State and a chance to see greatness there. Indiana had come in with the most losses in college football as an FBS program. So to go from that to being on top as the national champion is very, very special. So definitely you have credit to Kirk Cignetti there. I mean, you have you have him there, brought him over from James Madison. You brought all those guys over with you from James Madison. And yes, the first 16-0 team since I think it was Yale in the 1890s, the last time that happened. So it's pretty significant. So great story there. In terms of betting odds for the national title next year, I saw them a little earlier. I think they had Texas as the favorite, along with Indiana. Some say Ohio State. They're all three tied. Honestly, I think Indiana could has a chance to run it back. There is a new way to build dynasties in this new era of college football. And I think if you just plug in the pieces that you have or you need, then like a quarterback, they're getting Josh Hoover transferring in from TCU. That's going to be their starting quarterback next year. We'll see how he does. It'll be interesting. But 2026 will be an amazing college football season next year. And credit to Miami coming in as the last ranked team coming in to make it all the way to play the national championship in their home building, even though it wasn't quite a home field advantage. It was pretty much mostly Indiana fans in that game. But it was a special season for Miami too. First national championship game since 2002. And yeah, I think Miami could probably get back there at some point. We'll see who they're going to get at quarterback of the transfer portal. I think Carson Beck, he doesn't have eligibility left, I don't believe. But yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely see with Miami. And then let's move on to the Chicago Bears. Unfortunately, coming up short against the Los Angeles Rams, fell in overtime 20 to 17. Our co-host Eli Atwood was at the game, but yeah, it was not a good there it was a positive season all around. It wasn't like previous seasons where we just sputtered out and then have a heartbreaking loss in the playoffs like in 2018. We beat the Packers in the playoffs. We beat them twice this year. That's what I'm going to look to it for this season. Not that loss to the Rams, but in that game, Caleb Williams, he made the best throw that I have ever seen. Seriously. That throw on fourth down, him getting chased, stepping all the way back, just launches it in the end zone to Cole Kmet. Nobody can do that. Nobody. Caleb Williams is the only one that can do that and make and do those heroics. I mean, this Caleb Williams is definitely the guy. There's no question about that. And we have the coach in place as well, Ben Johnson. He's definitely the guy to lead us to a Super Bowl in the future. In fact, I think the Bears are going to win the Super Bowl in 2026. And the sky's high for the Bears to build right now. We just gotta on in this draft class, we gotta go heavy defense, heavy pass rush especially. That was what was lacking most of the season. And yes, we were able to get to Kyler Gordon a couple times, or Kyler Gordon got to Matthew Stafford for a sack in particular, but we were able to get some sacks. But we have to we got to get pressure on the quarterback more. That's what hampered us in a couple losses this season. So, but winning the NFC North for the first time since 2018, that was a good part of the season. And beating the Packers twice, coming back, especially that 18-point deficit in the playoffs, that's something that we'll take with us forever. I mean, and then in terms of next season, Caleb Williams, though he didn't pass for 4,000 yards, I still think he still broke the Bears' all-time season passing yards record, but just short of that 4,000 yard mark that a lot of people wanted him to get. But next year, I think he can. Last season, I think he had the worst completion percentage of any quarterback in the NFL last year. So if he can clean that up, and some of them were just throwaways, but if the receivers don't drop the ball, there was a lot of drops in that game against the Rams. Now, credit, I think the wind chill factor was like in the single digits, so you weren't really going to win the game passing, but on those short plays where you have to get that ball out quick, and those are plays that you can't really do in the winter. But there have been definitely have been flashes for sure. I think the Bears are set up well in the future for the next few years. Then we'll go on to recap this Bills Browns game. I mean, we were on stream for that game, and I'll tell you what was Josh Allen doing at the end of the first half? I mean, throwing it back like that, you can't have that if you're Buffalo and expect to move on. And that's what ended up costing you because you were down by 7. You could have taken a knee to run out the clock. You get the ball in the second half. Instead, you give it to Denver. They kick a field goal, go up by 10 at the end of the half. In my opinion, that's what cost them the game. It was not Sean McDermott, who was fired on Monday. We'll get into that later. Shocking firing, in my opinion. But I think Buffalo, I just think they made a couple bad decisions after this loss. Firing the Coach Sean McDermott, and then promoting Brandon Beane, their GM, to I think team president is what it was, but I don't know what's going on in Buffalo. They got to get stuff fixed there. It was more on the GM's fault, in my opinion, because you can't have Khalil Shakir as your number one receiver. I mean, he's a wide receiver 3 at best. And that lack of talent in the secondary, that's on Brandon Beane for not loading up in the offseason. You knew that was going to be a problem. We all knew. And Sean McDermott, he does not deserve to be fired because of it. And then we'll talk about the Broncos here. It was a big win for them. They're going to the AFC title game, but it'll be without Bo Nix, who suffered a fractured ankle. So they're going to roll with Jarrett Stidham against the Patriots this Sunday. Of course, we'll have all those conference championship games streamed, and we'll talk about that more on Friday. We'll preview those in depth. And then we'll talk about the blowout in Seattle, the 49ers and Seahawks. What I mean, Seattle, they're good. They're really good. In fact, I think they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. If they can do what they've been doing this season. And that was a good Niners team with Christian McCaffrey. Even though they've been injured all season, and then I think they lost a couple more players in that game. It's at this point for Seattle, they need to, or for San Francisco, it's been 2 years now where they've been just decimated with injuries. So they get fully healthy. I think San Francisco, even this year, we thought they could make a run. They put up 42 points against the Bears, and yes, that was not a good called game by Dennis Allen, but we answer back with 38. I mean, Seattle's secondary, or the Niners defense just isn't good without Fred Warner or Nick Bosa. They haven't had most of the season. And you know what the scary thing about Seattle is? They didn't need Sam Darnold to do anything. He had a below average game. I think he only had like 112 yards passing. So if the defense for the Seahawks defense holds up and they can ride past the 49ers, I think they're winning the Super Bowl hands down. And then we'll go to the Sunday game. The other Sunday game besides the Bears is from Foxborough, the 2 seed Patriots hosting the 5 seed Texans. Drake May looked good. I'll take that back. None of the QBs look good. It was a defensive stalemate. Even though New England got the win 28 to, I'll double check the final score, something like 28 to 14. But yeah, 8 total takeaways in that game is a very poorly managed, no, or not poorly managed, like, you know what I'm saying. Poorly protection of the football, in my opinion. And how do you allow 20, how do you allow total turnovers in the game? And CJ Stroud in particular, 1 for 4, 4 picks, and no, CJ Stroud didn't lose a fumble, but 4 interceptions. I think although all 4 of those were in the first half of that game, and they're saying they wanted to, or I don't think D'Amico Ryans came out and say that, but some people thought they should have gone to Davis Mills at halftime. I disagree. What kind of message that sends to your franchise quarterback if you get benched like that? And we could argue at this point if CJ Stroud is elite, but from his rookie season, he regressed. There's no doubt about it. He definitely regressed this this season, and after last season, I think he took the second most sacks behind Caleb Williams. And this season, 4 interceptions in the playoffs. In my opinion, last week that they should have lost that game because CJ Stroud turned the ball over. I think he had 7 total turnovers in the postseason in 2 games. That's insane. CJ Stroud, I think he's good. I think they're going to pick up the 5th-year option, but right now I would worry about CJ Stroud. And he has a playoff win in each of his first 3 seasons. That's nothing to scoff at. But CJ Stroud, I think, they need to do something with him. I don't know who their offensive coordinator is this year, but yeah, they got to get better. And then we'll move on to some NBA news that we got today that Jimmy Butler last night tore his ACL versus the Miami Heat. And that I didn't see the final score, to be honest. You know, the Warriors won that game 135 to 112. Jimmy Butler tore his ACL against his former team, in fact. So that I think this they brought Jimmy Butler into the Warriors to try to fix that dynasty, and it didn't work. Right now, if I check the standings, the the Warriors they're in eighth right now, but honestly, can you see this team making a title run in a loaded Western Conference with San Antonio on the rise, Denver with Jokic playing well, the Rockets with Durant and Şengün? How about the Lakers? Luka Doncic, LeBron James. Honestly, the Warriors need to face reality. And Jonathan Kuminga once out, it's time to face reality. It's over. The dynasty's over. It's been over for a few years at this point. It's just time to move on from the dynasty. It was good while it lasted. You won four championships out of it, but it's over. You're trading away Jonathan Kuminga. Uh, you want your Jonathan Kuminga wants a trade. I think he's most likely going to go. So yeah, what do you do now if you're Golden State? I think it's time to just rebuild. Steph Curry, I think he's 37 years old if I'm not mistaken. He's definitely on the wrong side of 30. He still play well, but he's not the guy that he once was. That's what if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, Jimmy Butler, I think he's 33 right now. Unfortunately, I hate to say this, but I don't think it's going to be the same. Honestly. So yeah, that's that. Jimmy Butler torn ACL out for the season, possibly start next season. Now let's get into our other headlines. Some coaching hires over the weekend. The Titans, late last night after the national championship game, announced they're hiring former Jets coach and 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh as their head coach. Now, in my opinion, I think this was a decent hire. With the Jets, he was okay, but it just wasn't going to work there with that whole mess of a situation he had with Rodgers. So, and then he was the scapegoat of that. They knew they just had to move on. And the Dolphins hiring Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator for Green Bay. I mean, he was one of the hot names in terms of the coaching cycle, but also their GM is was with the Packers, John Eric Sullivan. So Miami's basically hiring Green Bay staff away from them. So we'll see how that goes with Jeff Hafley. I don't expect success the first season. There's questions with Tua, whether you're going to keep him or not, or get rid of him. I think Miami's not going to. They're probably going to get 5 wins at most next year. Of course, that's what we said this season. But now you have no quarterback. I think it's definitely you're not. It's definitely certain you're not gonna win 5 games. So we don't know who the quarterback's going to be. Maybe Quinn Ewers. Maybe they'll stick with him. We'll see. But yeah, it's not going to look good for Miami for the next couple of years. The Atlanta Falcons hiring Kevin Stefanski. I think was one of the best hires in all the coaching cycles. I mean, Kevin Stefanski is two-time coach of the year, and the Falcons were able to get him. Although you have questions about the quarterback position, can Michael Penix Jr. really develop into a solid quarterback? Of course, he's been injured, but I think this is a slam dunk hire, no question. It depends on who you have around him. You got talent on that field like Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. I think Atlanta's going to make the playoffs next year. Just watch. Then Alberto Mendoza, the brother of Fernando, he announced he is entering the transfer portal after backing up his brother Fernando winning a national championship. I'm hearing Georgia Tech, Duke, Stanford might be an option for him. We'll see. And Indiana brought in Josh Hoover, like I mentioned before, to be their quarterback next year. So I could definitely see Alberto. I think he'll be a starting quarterback somewhere. We'll see. And then the Sharks and Panthers, their goalies had a fight last night, and in the Sharks win over Florida. Let me check that box score. Yeah, the Sharks won 4-1. Then the goalies started fighting. Now let's get into our final segment, and this concerns the NBA. The All-Star starters were released yesterday. You had some big names. Let me see. You had big names like Wemby. Um, Here it is: Wemby, SGA, Jokic, Curry, Doncic from the West, and the East: Giannis, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Maxey, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Brown. But one glaring name left off: LeBron James. And that's because it's the first time since 2004 that LeBron James is not an all-star starter. And unfortunately, I think this signals. I think if I had to place a bet, I would say this is LeBron's last season. He's still putting up decent numbers, but I think it's time for him. He's 41 years old. He had his dream to play with his son in the NBA. He did that. I just think it's time for LeBron to face facts and it's time to retire. It's no knock against him in his career. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He will go down as one of the greatest players of all time. I think he's still going to make the All-Star team. There's no doubt about it. But it's definitely time for LeBron to retire. At his age, I think he's basically handed the reins over to Luka and that Lakers team. And he's a billionaire. He has nothing left to prove unless he can win another title with LA this season. That's the only thing. And that's definitely attainable this year, but we'll have to see. Anyways, that's going to do it for today's episode. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We got more live streams. Jackson Burleson, host of The Take, is going to come on, or he may come on the live stream tonight. It depends. He was on last night. We're going to do the Spurs Rockets game tonight. Stay tuned for that. And I'll try to get the shorts out from the college football playoff game last night, the championship game last night. So stay tuned for that. Also, we're gonna do college basketball debut this weekend with three games starting at 3 p.m. Eastern: Illinois, Purdue, Houston, Texas Tech, Tennessee, Alabama. And of course, the conference championship games we'll have on our airways, and we'll preview those games on Friday. So stay tuned for that. Anyways, thank you for watching. Have a great evening. We'll see you again next time. Thank you.